Hey, what's up guys? On this segment of lighting techniques, we're going to be diving into reverse key lighting. But before we get into the actual breakdown, let's first go over what reverse key lighting is. Reverse key lighting is typically known for shooting on the shadow side of your subject or talent. Reverse key lighting is also referred to as short key lighting or narrow lighting. Normally, when you place a key light, it would be in front of your subject, but that would not work with this technique because it needs to be either behind them or off to the side at an angle to create the look, and then you can build off of that by adding an additional fill light, practicals, or other sources of light you may need to pull off that look. You are in control of your scene, and you can use as many lights as you choose. Reverse key lighting doesn't always have to be super dramatic in the shadows. You can light the shadow side with a little fill light to bring out the darkness within your subject's face. Most Hollywood films are shot on the shadowy side because it gives off that more cinematic, dramatic look to the film. Now that you know what reverse key lighting is, let's dive into the breakdown as I show you how to create it. The very first thing I did was find my framing that would be visually interesting, and I just adjusted my settings to expose for the windows because it was still daylight outside and the windows still had a little peeking through. Then already knew I wanted to add in practical light, so I moved the side table over and had a lamp already attached to it. Alright, so after I removed the bulb from the light socket, I just used my Aputure Mc light and I placed it face down on the socket and changed the Kelvin of the light to an orange. I know I wanted the scene to be moody, so I turned down the intensity of the light to 11% because that source needed to be evenly dimmed in the room and not be blown out. After that, I used a Clar LED panel, which is powered through NPF batteries or DC. This light is awesome because it's also a bicolor LED. I turned down the light to a very dim setting as this was going to be my kicker / fill light to accent the shadow side of her face and also act as a rim light to her shoulder and hair. I changed the Kelvin of the light to 3200 for that nice, beautiful, warm look, but I also wanted to go a step further by adding additional CTO gel in front of the light to dim down the light some more and give a warm and soft look to the shadowy side. Now for my key light, I use a Nanlite 60B, and yes, it is a bicolor cob style light and a very versatile light for its price point. I added a Fresnel lens to the light so I could really spot in that light to be a widespread, which softened the light source even more. Now this is not a theater play, so I used diffusion to soften the light spread by adding in 2 light stands with a frosted shower curtain attached to each stand and wrapped it twice. I positioned the light where I felt it would be more subtle, yet match the rest of the room tone of all the other lights by turning the light down to about 11% intensity and matching the Kelvin to 3200. I shaped the light with the barn door to stop any light from spilling onto our scene. I really wanted a little more ambience to the room as this was more of a dusk feel as our actress is talking on the phone, enjoying her night, watching TV, or talking on the phone on the couch. It still had that moody look that I was going for. And the biggest thing about lighting is understanding how lighting is affecting your image, while also understanding that diffusion and intensity is your best friend. If you really want to build out that look, then add or take away diffusion or intensity, depending on your scene or overall feel of that scene. A lot of times, it's not always about having the highest output wattage of lights because most of the time you're going to diffuse the light, turn the intensity down on the light, or maybe even use a fraction of the light output. The only time you should really be concerned about having those high outputs from HMIs, LED panels, tungsten lights, or fluorescent tubes is when you're shooting outside through a window or lighting an exterior woods scene, or anything else that really calls for high outputs. Other than that, use what you have to your advantage, and you'll be surprised most of the time that max light output won't really be as much as you think it will indoors.